Thank you so much for joining me today. And first off, congratulations on your Emmy nomination for Outstanding Director in the Pit. So well deserved and just
Every
incredible.
time somebody says that, I want to cry. I'm just like, I can't believe that sentence is being said to me. Oh,
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And I'm so excited to speak with you about this show because for starters, it's been my obsession for months. It's my favorite show of the year. And I know that I'm not alone on that as well. The show has become such a phenomenon, striking a chord not only artistically, but also in real life among healthcare workers. And I wanted to know, before we dive into the Pit, and there's so much to dive into, I read that you also have roots in photography. And I'm curious to know how your experience as a photographer kind of helped inform your choices and your kind of eye for detail as a director.
I think being a photographer made the visual aspect of storytelling and directing come very naturally to me, and it was learning to work with actors that was my Mount Everest, you know.
Yeah.
But it is like, especially even on the Pit. The Pit is something that you sort of block a scene and then you decide how you're going to cover it right then. I mean, I've done many a show like Ozark where you're methodically plan your shots and your framing and everything ahead of time. And the Pit is not that way. The Pit is like basically running on instinct. And so I'm very lucky that I had that sort of built in me already, basically.
Absolutely. And it really comes through in terms of the attention to detail in every episode. And, life on the Pit moves very quickly. We're learning and processing information on the fly. And there's a lot of disclosure happening, whether it's physical, like watching an incision, or emotional, like watching parents grieve the loss of a child and vice versa as well. And I'm wondering, what intrigued you about working on a show with so much transparency and continuous motion?
The challenge of it, well, the Pit was written, they designed the set and then wrote the show. So it was written for the space. And I like to mention that because it's a reason why the show works so well. Because we would constantly figure out, like, we're going to go here and then we're going to come here and this is going to go there. And there's a lot of technical aspects. There's like a ton of technical aspects of the Pit, but I don't think anyone loves the Pit because it is technically good. I think, it's wonderful that it's medically accurate. That's awesome. But because I think the Pit has the structures that it has, it allowed for us to feel all the feelings that we feel. And it's also just stories about like very real seeming people just trying to like get through their day and do their best work. And all these people who are coming into the ER, it's some of them, it's like not that bad of a day if you're just getting some stitches. And some people, it's the worst day of their lives and their life will never be the same. And like, it's really, it was really special to be part of.
Yeah, and also comforting as well. And, it's interesting because at first glance, it doesn't seem like a typical comfort show, but there is something very comforting about, like you said, being with those characters. And I think it's because we're watching people who care so much about what they're doing and genuinely want to help people. And there's a gravitation, I think, towards seeing that not only on TV, but in life.
Yeah, it's like really refreshing, basically, to watch entertaining, sort of classic seeming television, but it's about just like a bunch of people who care and are trying to do good work. But it's not boring somehow it's not boring at all, right? And it's not it's really special. They like Scott and John and Noah, like, and Dr. Joe, they like unlocked something that is pretty, it's pretty awesome. There's a Danish newspaper. A friend of mine lives in Denmark, and she sent me a photograph of the newspaper, and it was a review of the Pit, and it called the Pit competency porn. And I was like, I'll take that description. You know what I mean? Like, we're just so excited to watch people try to just be good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, the energy that you really feel that energy. And with your episodes in particular, 2, 4, 8, and 12, talk about a really stellar combination of storytelling that is both foundational in the seeds that are being planted, but also the filling and the payoffs that we get. And I was curious to know, like, could you speak to kind of planting those seeds in the earlier episodes to help establish the characters and the story?
Well, one, the writing is just really good, right? And then it's my job, obviously, as director to make sure that good writing shows up on screen, right? But they did a great job at writing it. And then also, as we sort of, John Wells did an amazing job on the pilot, and then I started on episode 2, and then I did 2, 4, 8, and 12. And we really were still learning the visual language of the show as we got into episode 2, and figuring out like how this thing was going to work, because it was like, I think when we all started, we're like, we think this is going to work, but like, you know, hope it does. And it does. And I think I got so lucky with the episodes that it's not like I got to pick, they were like, Amanda, you can have this job. This job involves these episodes. And when I read everything, I truly was like, Scott, oh my goodness. Like, then I was like, episode 8, where the girl dress, and then 12, where we have this, just, I keep saying like it was a tsunami of death just coming at the hospital, thankfully it's not that much death, but horror, gore, whatever,
Yeah, and speaking to episode 12 in particular, I have to say one of the most compelling episodes of television I've seen in period. It's such a phenomenal piece of directing by you. Could you speak to the technical work that went into, I suppose, capturing the chaos of mirroring how emergency rooms respond to a mass shooting?
It was the prep of that episode was different, obviously, than the rest of our episodes, because we were clearing out the ER and then bringing all these people in. So Nina, our production designer, who's so phenomenal, she actually built a model of the set so that we could, because they're filming on set all day, every day. So it's not like as a director, I can sit on set and go, I'm going to put this over there. I'm going to put that over there. You have 1 hour at lunch every day to walk the set and make plans, basically. So we built a model, and she built all the little beds, and we put numbers on all of them. And then for every single scene, we placed beds, put a scene number on the model, took a photo, right? And then we're like, okay, and then these are going to move here. It was like playing your own board game. And also, side note, Nina actually made Pitt the board game as a joke for it's in the office. It's so good.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
so good. But it was this sort of, and then also, of course, there's so many injuries, there's so many wounds. Like, what are we going to see? When are we going to see it? Where's it going to be? Is this person, like, does this person need to be naked? Is these clothes getting cut off? All that stuff. And then we had to make sure that you guys care when you're seeing it. And then it's not just like so much blood and insanity that you like stop feeling.
Yeah.
So that was the sort of, I call it like left brain, right brain, like technically prepare, make sure everything is there so that then that we can be like in our hearts and I'm always like, we have to open up our heart chakras. We have to like let the feelings in. So I'm just, yeah, it was a lot of hard work, and it, paid off.
Yeah, because in addition to those technicalities that you spoke of, it's also a layered episode in the sense that we're seeing so much, I feel, emotional maturity. If you look at the med students, they're facing this tragedy and maturing on the spot. And we're seeing how they interact with the combat zone medicine. And there's also Dr. Robby, who's still dealing with the flashbacks from the pandemic and hanging on by a thread. So there's so many kind of character layers going on here as well.
Yeah, there's a lot. And there's a lot like understanding how overwhelming that experience is for all of our doctors. And then showing that like the patient, like how terrifying is it to be involved in a mass shooting, and how scary it is, and how also wonderful it is to show up someplace and have a bunch of people who are there like ready to take care of you. That's just, there's a lot of places in the world where there are not people that are ready to take care of you. And it's like, thank goodness that they're there. And thank goodness for all of like our ERs all over the United States that like are prepared for this kind of insanity.
Absolutely, yeah. And also just being in that kind of environment yourself, I'm wondering, when you're coordinating the various moving parts, whether it's the character drama, the flow of patients coming in, the night shift arriving in episode 12, how do you stay focused as a director? What are some of the things that you prioritize in a frame?
Well, it's sort of like what's your scene about? Like, is your scene about somebody's wound, or is it about somebody almost failing to do their job, or somebody making a mistake, or somebody like not like winning, but like somebody saving somebody? So then it's that. It's like, where are we in our story, and what's this scene's purpose, and how do I make it the best version of that purpose, and sometimes on the day, you're there and your actors do something you didn't expect, and that changes it. That's something I think is really beautiful about filmmaking, is it's not fixed. I was not handed a script that is, locked. I would say Scott Gemmill, who's the showrunner of the Pitt, I think it was one day when I was in the middle of my second episode, so episode 4, and he just wandered on the set, and I was like, "Hey, Scott, I just want to thank you for just letting me direct. Like, you really," and he's like, "Well, I trust you."
Yeah.
So, and you're in John Wells and Scott, they really create an environment in which you're allowed to do your job. And it's, it was fun. It was good.
Yeah, and speaking to working with the actors as well, I wanted to zone in on episode 4. It's written by Noah Wiley, and I think it's where some of the most profound moments of the show come from, and especially in terms of the dialogue, like the 4 things Dr. Robby learned to say to somebody passing away. I love you, thank you, I forgive you, please forgive me, which is such a heart-wrenching moment. And I'd love to hear your experience of working with Noah in general, and particularly on that episode to find the visual language of the entire piece.
Well, I think that Noah, I like won the lottery with Noah. Like, just being able to work with Noah in general, but also on the episode that he wrote. And Noah is a generous writer. Like, he would tell me, this is what I was thinking when I wrote this, but now you're here, right? So that was lovely. And then that scene and that sequence with Spencer and all, like, our the act, they're all so good, I wish all of them were nominated. So the AD that I worked with on that show, my line producer and myself had all lost our fathers within like a year of directing this episode. So it was also like, we were just on set and we were doing that scene and we were just all crying and watching, you know what I mean? Like, just working and crying but I wouldn't have been crying if it wasn't right and it wasn't good. I would have been like, oh, uh-oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was, we all had it, and Noah just does such a beautiful job, and I love that man.
Yeah, it certainly hit. I mean, I lost my father 2 years ago, so that scene also.
It's just
pretty,
like,
yeah.
and you
That
wish
point-
you,
Yeah, there's so much, wistfulness and again, just seeing the acting from Noah. It's kind of like that balance of empathy and authority.
Yeah. That's like a good director. Empathy and authority.
Yeah. Which I was going to say, your direction really mirrors that so well, because we feel it. We feel it in every frame, and the energy it comes through so powerfully.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know that, there's been so much praise about the show and positive response. And I'm just curious to know, what has all this positive feedback meant for you? And what was your biggest takeaway from working on this show?
Well, I think one is, it's just lovely to work with people who just are good at what they do. And in that way, that there's like a quiet confidence of understanding like good work.
Mm.
And I think John and Scott and Noah and Dr. Joe all are, that's just a bunch of, basically it's like a class act. So that also, you work really hard, like being a guest director and coming up in this world. Like, one, it's a miracle I'm a director. It's amazing that I got to start working and that I first made a little movie and then I made my first episode. Like, all those things are, I think, miracles. And then saying yes to the Pitt and being able to make that show. And it just is really, really wonderful to what it makes me understand is I'm going to be able to keep doing this. And I love directing. Directing keeps me sane. Directing, I think, keeps me alive. And so in being on a project that gets praise, it's just more likely that I get to keep working. And if I get to keep working, like, I just get to, it's like my dream. It's my dream come true,
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And it had me thinking, were there any particular directorial influences that you've had kind of just getting started in this industry and moving from one experience to the other?
I think a lot of the major influences I've had on me, weirdly, are sort of writers. Like Chris Mundy, who's the showrunner of Ozark. His talent and generosity and had just great influences on me. Laura Linney and her like skill and her generosity. That all like really, and then of course there's like all the directors I look up to, which is like the list. It's the same list, you know what I mean? It's everybody. And I have a lot of really great director friends. Like I have a lot of really great friends that are also very talented directors, and we all sort of can call each other and support each other. And sometimes I call it director therapy, because you got to be able to call somebody and go, oh, this thing happened today. And not many people can like, oh, they understand, like, no, so-and-so wouldn't come out of their trailer, and then that happened, and then this happened, this is how we dealt with, But I'm so grateful to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. But was there a moment like that in the Pit where you had a day where you felt, oh, I gotta, I have to call somebody and see what their perspective might be?
I think it wasn't like that, because I think like Noah, I had days where I would sometimes go to Noah. Let's say we had like some guest actors or something, and I could go to Noah and go, Noah, I'm trying to get this thing from them and I can't figure out the note. And he would be like, oh, try this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Great note. Like, so I had a partner there basically, because Noah's like never not on set.
Yeah, his presence, even when he's not, and he's in pretty much every frame, but even when he's not, you can feel the weight of his presence and just his energy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. He's the best.
He is. Yeah, he's absolutely phenomenal. And I keep thinking of the end of episode 12 as well, where he realizes the panic of not being able to reach Jake, and you're just really in that moment with him, in the frame with him.
He does the good work.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that the show it's full of these heart-wrenching moments, especially in episodes 8 and 12. And I was wondering, was there a particular moment for you that hit hard or the hardest?
The little girl drowning in 8, but also the honor walk, the combination, the 1-2 punch in 8.
Yeah.
And the Pit, like, we filmed like 7 a.m. calls to 6 p.m. They're contained, really nice days. I don't even live far from the stages. I can get home for dinner. But I'm telling you, there's a photograph of me on my couch. I am unconscious. My boyfriend took it, and I laughed at it. I am like spread. I'm just like sleep in this craziest way. And when I looked back, I was like, oh, I was in the middle of directing episode 8 then. Like, I would come home and just basically shut down. It was like you'd unplug me, because the emotional weight, you don't go in every morning going, this is going to be really hard. You go in and you're like, great, this is what I need to do. And here's my plan. And I got to make sure this. And And you're there to support everybody, right? All those actors have to be so vulnerable, and you need to have the strength so that they can be vulnerable. And then I would just come home every day and become unconscious, like just from exhaustion. And then you just wake up the next morning and be like, I can do it. I got it. Let's go.
Well, it speaks to the level of preparation too that goes into all these episodes, so that when everybody does arrive on the sets on the day, everything is in place to tell this story together and to be there for each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, our on-set props, Cody. Oh my goodness. You're like, and do we? And he's like, boop, right there, whoop, right there. You know, you're just like, I've got this, I've got that. What? You know, it's all correct. It's all like, you're just it's not just me. It's everybody. Like every single person there came like prepared, came on their A game. You know, that's why it's so good.
Yeah, yeah, and thankfully we won't have to wait too long for
January.
season 2. Yeah, it's not too long of a wait. Is there anything that you can tell us about season 2 and maybe the direction that it takes and what your involvement is in it?
I'm going back, but towards the end of the season, because I have an overlap with where I currently am in Atlanta. But I miss it. I'm like every day, like I want to get back. I'm almost like I want to go home.
Well, it does feel like home, even for people watching too. You know, I go back and watch these episodes again, just going back to that comfort feeling of it feels like a home that's on screen. It
is.
Yeah.
And it's there for you, and it's coming back.
So glad about it. I know we're reaching the end of our time here. I wanted to ask before we go, is there anything that you're working on next that you can share with us apart from
I'm working on Cape Fear. So it's Scorsese and Spielberg are producing, Nick Antosca is showrunning, and it's for Apple TV, and it's a you know, we're doing a series of Cape Fear, and Amy Adams and Javier Bardem and Patrick Wilson are all in it, and it's which is why I could, you know, you can't say no to that.
No, absolutely. That's a dream.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And working with these actors is just, it's amazing. I do find myself talking to Amy a lot about Noah and talking to Noah a lot about Amy.
Oh, that's great.
I'm just like, well, Amy, Noah, blah, blah, blah. And then I could talk to Noah. I'm like, oh, well, Amy and I were talking about you the other day because you're so amazing. We're such big fans of the Pit. You know, so that's what I'm doing now. And I'm very lucky to be doing it.
Amazing. Well, I cannot wait to see that and more of what you do on the Pit. The episodes that you've directed are just absolutely phenomenal, and
Thanks,
you
man.
did just a wonderful job. And this was such a pleasure to chat with you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. And
Yeah.
I just I'm happy that anyone wants to talk to me.
You know, when I found out that I'd be talking with you, I got so excited because there's so much to dive into, and I'm just fascinated by the choreography of it all. And thank you so much for your insight and for your work, and congratulations again on this Emmy nomination. So well
Thank you
deserved.
so much. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I hope to get to chat with you soon. Maybe
Oh
for
yeah, anytime.
season 2.
Okay, great.
All right.
Amazing.
Have a good one.
Okay. Bye.